Hello and welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. Before I introduce my guest, a beautiful friend of mine makes crystal infused candles. Her website is isabeljcandleco.com, and this is the Sexual Desire Pleasure candle. I've gone straight for the best candle she has, and this one's awesome. My brother is currently using the self-love and self-care candle here. There's different crystals that she infuses them with. Jump on her website and at the checkout, use the code Breaking Free and you can receive 10% off. So I highly recommend these candles. She has a stall next to us at the local markets and she's really awesome. She's aware of things too, and her business is great, and she infuses these candles with all sorts of different crystals, and at the end you can take the crystals out and keep them. So jump on her website, isabeljcandleco.com. There's a link in the bottom. Use the code Breaking Free and you should be all sweet. Anyway, with that aside, my guest today is sister of Madeline Doherty, Georgia Powley. I met Georgia last year with Dale at her awesome cafe that she runs with her sister Elise. I had an awesome chicken pesto wrap, and I think we had a couple of slices for the trip up to Queensland. It was really awesome. She's an awesome person. They're an awesome family. Madeline, massive shout out. I hope you're not too jealous. I got your sister on before you. Georgia does a lot of awesome things, and I'm looking forward to hearing her story today. So, Georgia, take the floor and share with my audience your awesome story, who you are, and what it's like having Madeline as a sister.
Thanks for having me on, Nathan.
No worries.
First of all, having Madeline as a sister is fantastic. It's a ride. You're always like, just when you think you've realized something or had this deep awakening, she says something else and you're like, oh my gosh, it's takes you on a whole nother journey. So she's awesome. And so is my other sister, Elise. Yep. Like you said, we run the cafe together, which is awesome, and her partner too. So my story, all right.
Yeah.
So I am a former professional ballerina. So I grew up dancing. It was basically my whole life. I grew up in Canberra, and I left Canberra to New Zealand when I was 16 to train full-time at the New Zealand School of Dance there. Ended up getting a contract with the company. And so I started off my career at the Royal New Zealand Ballet Company. And I kind of went from there, and it was pretty exciting for me to go from a student, from training from such a young age, getting serious about when I was about 12 years old, doing the part-time, full-time training at my old dance school into full-time training in New Zealand, and then getting a job. Started off my profession. I was getting paid. I was performing around New Zealand. I did a few amazing seasons and productions with the company. I ended up leaving there and coming back home to Canberra, whereas with my family again, and started teaching, and it was a different kind of journey along that way. And then that was kind of when I was, I think kind of my awakening would be while I was away.
Yep.
In New Zealand alone. And then that kind of struggle that I had in New Zealand caused me to leave. And then when I left, I kind of had another struggle. I guess you could call it whatever, dark night of the soul or whatever you want to call it, kind of moment there. And that kind of loss of identity when I left the company, kind of finding my way, finding my purpose, definitely struggled with a lack of confidence. And then did my yoga teacher training in Bali and kind of went down that route of, dance and embodiment and all things kind of body. Then I created Soma therapy, which I love doing and sharing, and moved up here to Lake Macquarie, and I'm helping my sister and her partner at their cafe as their cook. And I'm also still teaching dance at a local dance school here, which I love. So
That's awesome. So much to unpack there. The cafe is awesome. I can vouch for that. So, just in terms of your dark night of the soul and your awakening, because I know for me it was a really hard process facing myself and my darkness. So, what was that process like for you in terms
Yeah.
of shedding those old belief systems? Yeah. How was that process for you?
Yeah. It was a bit of a struggle, as it always is. But it kind of happened midway through my time at the company. Basically, I didn't have a lot of confidence as a child. I really struggled with anxiety and always wanted to, strive for that perfect image. And I think what got me through and what fueled me to keep going was external validation. So the validation that I was getting from my peers and my family and my students. And I had amazing opportunities took me places like Italy and things like that. And that kind of kept me going, being like, oh, okay, maybe, yeah, I'm like not too bad at this. And that fueled me. And then I got into the company, and that, it's a different kind of environment. It's your profession. So it's not so much, they're not going to, keep validating you. So that's when I slowly realized that I was kind of, I wasn't feeling confident within. It was more of I'm taking it from other people and going with this. So in the company, I slowly started to lose the confidence, or lose that external confidence, and I really started to struggle. And then I was struggling with my self-image as well, body image. We're looking at ourselves in the mirror every day as dancers, and your job is to pick at the things that are wrong and fix it. So that became very taxing and draining. And I got to a point where it was over time that I was slowly losing the confidence and slowly, just not enjoying it, feeling uninspired, unmotivated. And that wasn't like me, because I'm usually like I worked very hard as a dancer because that's all I wanted to do. And so then I was struggling with that, and something just kind of pushed it over the edge, and I had to make that decision to leave. And I didn't know what I was going to do when I left. I just knew I had to get out of that industry. I mean, the dance industry is already cutthroat as it is. So if you haven't got your back, you're going to struggle. So then I left, and then the struggle was a different kind of struggle, the struggle of, I don't know who I am, basically, because that was my identity. I was the dancer. So then that was really hard. And I had to find that confidence. And obviously that's an ongoing kind of process. But definitely, if I look back at where I was, I've come a long way, and that's my journey. That had to happen to kind of feel that. So, so I think that's when I actually started creating Soma, not knowing that what it was going to become, but that's how I connected with that movement. And it was me kind of exploring. When I left the company, my body needed to move and it needed to dance still, but I didn't want to go back into the studio. I wasn't in the headspace to go back into the studio, to look in the mirror, to do that all over again, and to do the ballet and all of that. So it was kind of my way of expressing and exploring my own body and my own self-expression, without kind of like ballet so restricted. And it's almost like they put this mold in front of you and go, okay, try and fit into that. And like, nobody's going to. So it's kind of like, it's a lose situation. So, so this way it was kind of like me exploring in ways that I can move that might look ugly, but I need to move that way because that's what my body's calling me to do. So it was a different kind of, and that's when I started to build more of a connection to my body. Obviously, I still had that as a dancer, but it was a different kind of connection. Yeah.
That's awesome. How did you like? Did you ask for help? Like, and were you like every other young person? Were you drinking, partying, doing those things too? Like, did you have any, I guess, addictions you could say? And did you ask for help? Like, did anyone was there one person, a book, or something that inspired you to change? So it's like sort of two questions in one there.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I never went through that party stage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think because I skipped it because I left school at like 16. So I left, school and my home when I was 16.
Okay.
And because it was so like where I was, it was like, if you want to make it, you got to like stick to it. So I just kind of skipped that. And then when I left that, I wasn't inspired to get into that kind of thing. Although I did, obviously, everybody has addictions. I definitely went to food, I would say.
Yeah.
So like, either I would go one way of like overeating or then completely restricting myself, which it kind of began when I was young. So like when I was quite young, because it's pretty common in the dance world, I would say, of like the restricting. So that the restriction came very young, and then that kind of escalated. And then when I left, it kind of went to the opposite of me being like, I'm using this to comfort myself because I'm struggling right now. So that's probably that's where I went instead of alcohol or whatever. But I feel like Maddie actually, she very much helped me in terms of like leading the way kind of thing, because she was always into the spirituality side of things, and I'm pretty sure she was the one that introduced me to Kundalini yoga.
Yep.
And I started that in New Zealand. I did like there was like a nice little class that I did there every Sunday, and then when I left, something drew me back to that, and so I was doing a lot of that, and that just brought me back to myself and allowed me to find a bit more balance within myself. And I guess you'd go through the whole textbook spirituality kind of path of like, you find the speakers, Abraham Hicks, like, actually Abraham Hicks probably what, kind of helped me to leave the company, because it was like finding it just, led me there. But then you get into all of that. And then I did my yoga teacher training. So I was in Bali for a month, and that was another awakening. It helped me a lot. And then it was also really nice to connect with the other people in the course as well, who were also kind of on a different journey, but similar in terms of, finding themselves and all of that. So I wouldn't put it down to one particular book or one particular person. I think it was just a bit of everything. And
it's very rare for young women and young people to actually go through something like that. So credit to you though. I reckon it's awesome. But just like, did that Bali yoga thing find you, or were you actively looking for something else? Like, how did that all come about?
It was a couple months after I came home from the company. I looked for it. I was like, because I had always been into yoga, and I was like, I think it's, I did think I wanted to teach. But I also knew that it would be very eye-opening for me to do as well. And it was probably also like an escape from like, I feel pretty shit right now. I need to run away. Kind of. It's a good thing and a bad thing, but it ended up being amazing. But I kept putting it off as well. Like I was looking at things and I was like, oh, like, I'll book it soon. And then I was like, no, I just got to do it. Yep. And I actually came back feeling like kind of shocked because of all the things that came up, but also like, kind of, even though I hadn't found myself, I was in a better place when I came back, for sure.
That's awesome. So what would be so what was like the one thing that I guess you could say got you to change? Was it a feeling inside, like, did you feel like you were something more, and you could go be something better? Like, was there like an intuitive feeling that, oh, hang on, this is the path for me? Like, because I know for me that my intuition was clicking online a lot over the last 3 years that, hang on, what you're doing is not right. This is your path now. Like, was there like an intuitive sort of clicking online as well spiritually, like your intuition and stuff? You're like, okay, well, this is the path for me. Like, was there like a feeling or something as well inside?
Yeah, 100%. Especially before I left the company, I was getting obviously that gut feeling, that intuition. I was getting the signs and the messages that you tend to like, no, I'm all good. Like it's not me. But yeah, I was definitely getting that, and that's what it started to build and made me realize that I needed to leave. Yeah, I think when I left as well, I was also like, I can't keep going like this through my life, following other people or trying to, follow somebody else's path, or even take too much on that's not mine, in terms of like, if someone's trying to influence the way I want, no, I want to do something else. And I kind of needed to find that in myself to be like, like have that sovereignty of,
Yes.
this is my life. I'm just, I'm making my decisions. I'm just going to do it. And I'm still working on that. Like that's an ongoing thing, but yeah, I feel like it's just finding that and also, yeah, again, having your own back, because I didn't when I was in the company, and yeah, and you get taken advantage of, and it's just like you feel powerless.
Yeah.
It's just taking your power back.
It is taking your power back, and it's so powerful once you do, isn't
Yes.
it?
It changes everything.
It does. It literally does. For young women out there that were like I think that a lot of young women are sort of disconnected from themselves, disconnected from nature. They're programmed to like eat less because they see models on the TV, and then now they're seeing bigger models, so now they're being programmed to eat more. Like, how did you break free from some of those like the programming for everyone's bad, but I feel like the young women, like, how did you break free from all of that programming? Or were you not I guess were you programmed a certain way as well? Like,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Because it's already bad enough for girls growing up to have that image that they have to like obtain, but let alone like being in the dance industry, that's also a whole nother level on itself as well. So I definitely experienced that, and so many people, including myself, that have gone through eating disorders and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. They are changing that. There's one image and then there's another image, and you just have to keep,
so much confusion.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's ridiculous. But for me, I definitely, it's probably been in the past 2 or 1 year. I've like, if anything, it's just come from within. So it's how I hold myself and how I feel everything in my body, like, and I've experienced that when I was in the company. I like experienced anxiety and gut issues, and I know when a relationship isn't right because my body tells me, whereas my mind is like, no, we're good. And it's just like, yeah, it's I always know from my body. So I kind of had to connect back to my body, and if I feel a little bit like, I'm feeling not good within myself, not confident in my body, I had to kind of shift that and be like, wait a minute. And it was almost like a self-talk, like, I had to keep coming back to certain, and it took a while to kind of, because obviously, girls' bodies, they're changing all the time. Every single day it's different. So you have to find that kind of yeah, self-talk in a way that every day is like, okay, this is how I'm feeling, this is how I look, like it's coming back. And that definitely it was just all within, I feel.
Did you journal some of this stuff too?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really journal much, but in the last 3 years I journal all the time as well. Like how powerful is that for you? Like do you grateful journal? Like yeah, let's talk about journaling for a minute. Like
Yeah.
was that a habit that you introduced during your dark days that helped you? Did you find journaling?
Yeah, I probably did it before I was struggling, just because I need, like, also because I was like, oh, like I'm going through this. It's nice to just get it out. Like while
Yeah.
I was training dance, like, you know, if something big happened, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd want to have that written down. But then it ended up being like a really great way of releasing that out of my mind, because I would overthink things. And sometimes when obviously you probably experience when you write things, you just keep writing and then you go, oh, and it clicks and you're like,
Yep.
okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's always a big go-to. And often if I have a break from journaling, I'm like, gosh, I'm just like all in my head. Like, what is this? And then as soon as I journal, I'm like, it's like, good. I'm good. I'm clear now.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So, are there any other habits that you've introduced into your life now that have helped transform you? Is there anything else that you do?
Yeah. So I have, I always need a morning routine. So I have my 3 non-negotiable exercises.
Here we go.
One meditation and then 2 like moving kind of prayers. And they're like, yeah, they're the non-negotiables every day, no matter what. And then I build on that depending on how I'm feeling. So I obviously have to check in and see what my body needs that day. So whether it's Kundalini yoga or just dance, just like full on, just go crazy, or Qigong. I love Qigong, especially when I'm feeling like I just can't move too, like I don't want it too strenuous. No matter what, I have to move my body every day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've seen your Insta reels. You definitely don't hold back with the dancing. I thought one day I might do some dance stuff, but yeah, I move my body in different ways. But obviously, dancing was that always something that you were always doing, dancing, or?
Yeah,
Sweet.
all that. Yeah.
That's awesome. I was going to ask you another question, so I just can't remember what it was. We are unfiltered, unedited here, so we'll just keep this rolling. How was the COVID period for you? Especially having a sister like Maddie who didn't really hold back on her views of the world and that. How was that? I guess it was a 3-year period, wasn't it? Really, how was that COVID period for you?
It wasn't too bad, actually. I was actually in the Gold Coast when it hit first, and I was actually with Mads. And so she came over for her wedding, actually, and she met me in the Gold Coast, and I just remember having some really great chats because it was the start of what was going on. So it was like we had like, you know, ideas like and then I moved back to Canberra from the Gold Coast because I just couldn't stay up there during the time. I started a little side business because obviously there wasn't a lot of work going on. So I wasn't teaching at that point. And to be honest, I didn't feel too affected by it in terms of like my life, but obviously everything that went with COVID, that was like a whole nother level. But I feel like actually COVID helped in terms of finding that sovereignty within me, because I feel like you were getting thrown so much information that it was like, you can't just follow like that conspiracy theorist, like, you know, because they don't actually know what's going on, but neither does the other person. So you had to find your own information and your own path in terms of like, obviously, you know, with the jab coming out and things like that. it's easy to just follow what you're heard, like what's said. So yeah, I definitely found that I had to question everything, even getting it. Like at one point I was like, it's easier for me not to get it. So I'm like, and I'm told not to get it. So I'm like, is this me following somebody, or is this how I feel? Obviously that's, yes, that's how I feel. But I did, I had to question it. You have to keep questioning. You have to question all the information and be like, I'm just being told this, so I'm going to follow this. So
A lot of people followed the TV, didn't they? They were like, it was an authority figure standing up on a stage with all these blue and red signs behind them saying "Staying apart keeps us together." Like a lot of people, I find, just followed the mainstream path, but there was a lot of other people that turned their back on that and sort of followed themselves. And because I did the exact same thing you did. Like I had Dale, obviously, who I reconnected with, and I was sort of following his stuff. But I wasn't really like following him. It was like I had to go within and find that information and use my intuition and be like, well, is this right for me? So that's very, very powerful, because a lot of people are just following that mainstream way of things, and they're still doing it now. So that's credit to you for breaking free from that.
Yeah, I think
powerful.
No, it is hard because there's so many agendas being played out, and you've got the new age kind of spirituality.
Maddie calls that out almost daily.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and even like all the speakers that I usually would be like, gosh, they're on fire, like they know what's up. I had to be like, no, like you can't put them on a pedestal. Actually, Maddie has said that a lot. Like you can't, and she doesn't, I've noticed. Like she would meet, famous celebrities and just be like, yeah, you're the average Joe. Like, and that's what I actually really admire about her. It's just like you can't put anyone on a pedestal, because we're all, we're all there, we're all in it together. But you just have to find it for yourself.
Yeah. If there's young women out there that like there's a lot of young women that just, I find that they are disconnected from themselves and they're doing things that other people are doing, and I guess that they're stuck in that. What would be like your advice to those young women that are watching this right now, seeing a young person like you, who has completely transformed their life? Like, what would be your advice to those young women that are anorexic, or they're a bit big, or they're just stuck and they're getting hit with all this programming and all this confusion? What would be your advice to those young women to actually like break free from that? Is it listening to themselves, or, asking for help? Like, what would be your advice?
100% listening to yourself. But I mean, it is hard when you're in a certain place to just be like, all right, I'm listening to myself. This is it. Because are you listening to yourself, or are you still listening to that program that's going on? So I feel like nature's a big, big part of my journey. I feel like you get all the answers just from the trees, but
yep, you do.
But no, I feel like it's obviously an ongoing process. I think it's connecting with yourself in a way I think you have to understand that you're unique. I think that's my main thing, is sometimes I go, oh, like you look at other people and go, wow, they're amazing, like blah, blah, blah. And that kind of diminishes your light. And it's like, I'm here for a reason. Like we're all here for a reason. We have certain gifts, certain abilities, skills to do whatever we're meant to do, to spread the message, our own message. And I think it's focusing on your own unique attributes. And that's what as a teacher, I try and kind of pull that out for the children. I'm like, one dancer might be beautifully technical and can, get their leg up as high as possible. And then the other one is like so expressive and, got beautiful artistry. It's like, I want you to find your own thing, and I want you to like use it and know that it's so special. And I feel like I tried when I was dancing, I couldn't see that in myself, and I couldn't see my worth. So I couldn't really expect others to see that. So I had to find that for myself and keep coming back to what's special about me and what can I offer. So I think it's just reminding yourself
Yes.
how awesome you are.
Yes. That's so powerful. And it's so simple too. How would you see yourself, like, has your I guess perception of yourself changed in terms of how you look at yourself in the mirror now?
Yes.
A lot of people tend to shy away from the mirror. They want to run the opposite direction without standing there and looking at themselves. Like, how do you find yourself now when you step out of the shower and you look in the mirror? Like, has your perception changed of yourself now from where you were to where you are now?
Yeah, definitely. Like obviously my body's changed a lot as well since leaving the company, and that was also a struggle in itself. But yeah, I feel like it's just that like the mirror can be really healing, or it can do the absolute opposite. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, it's completely changed, and I think it's definitely been over time. Because there was some time where it would be really difficult, as everyone goes through, and but the work within yourself, it helps.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's such a powerful thing too. I was going to ask you another question too. Yeah. So how much time would you spend in nature now?
So if I'm working, usually it would be like early mornings. So if I've got the morning off, I try and go outside, get some sun on my skin. And even if I'm not like going out into the bush, we're actually living like right next to a reserve, which is like so beautiful.
Oh, awesome.
But like we're surrounded by trees, and it's a beautiful area out my backyard. So I often ground myself there, bare feet on the ground.
It's good for you, people. See, Georgia does it. Everyone does it. Get your bare feet on the grass. It's bloody good for you. Get those feet dirty.
If you're not taking your shoes off, I don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
No, it's life changing. No.
It is.
And yeah, I mean, I try and go out, go to the water, go to the lake, and yeah, obviously go for walks in the reserve near me. But I try, like, daily, you need to get out. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people and a lot of young women too are stuck, like even young blokes too, like they're all stuck inside.
Yeah.
Games and watching TV and watching porn and doing all sorts of stuff. But like, it's just spending that time outside, and a lot of even our age group too. Like, they're all partying, drinking, having sex with each other.
Yeah,
these things, right? Like, it's
little
just,
do they know.
It's so inspiring to see a woman. I think you're 26, yeah.
25, 26.
25 even, yeah. Like, it's just like a lot of 25-year-old women right now. Well, we know what they're doing. It's so inspiring to see a woman in her mid-20s that's taken back her power, and credit to you.
Thanks.
No worries. And what would be your advice to women your age that are drinking and partying and chasing boys? And
I feel like they'll learn eventually. I feel like they'll get there surely. No, I would say just step outside and move your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are moving their body, but they have an alcoholic drink in their hand too. That, sort of defeats the purpose.
That's true.
Are your friends, do you have like-minded friends now? Like, how did your, I guess, part of your journey, did you lose friends? Did you gain friends? Like, I know for me, I lost a lot of friends.
Yeah. I, from the dance days, I've definitely lost contact with quite a few people just because we're on different paths, and obviously, just different. But I did lose a couple of friends over that COVID period as well.
Were you expressing your views?
Yeah.
I found that too, don't worry.
Yeah, people have a weird thing about like somebody having a different opinion. They just just like, oh, okay, I'm not friends. I
Well,
find
you're
that
not
weird.
doing what the TV says, so you must.
Yeah,
be
exactly.
conspiracy
So you
theorists.
must be weird. Yeah.
Now, I see it the other way. I see that the conspiracy theorists are the ones watching the TV.
Yeah.
We're seeing the world for what it is.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I definitely have like-minded friends now, and a lot like on online, which eventually hopefully would be, in person. But yeah, that's
Well, I consider you a friend, so we've sort of
yeah,
made a friendship here.
that's true. We've met in person, so that's good.
Yeah, Madeline's recommendation to Dale and I on our way up to Queensland was awesome coming into the cafe.
Yeah. No, she's good.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to share, Georgia, while I've got you here? Actually, yes. Where can so Soma therapy? So what actually is Soma therapy? There you go.
So
Delve into that.
basically, it's a modality to connect you back to your body and bring presence back into your body. So using breath and intentional movement. So yeah, so like I said, I was creating it when I was kind of in a darker period, and I just needed to move my body. And then I realized just how kind of healing it was. And yeah, it kind of just and I also feel like I think people want to dance, but also like don't know where to begin. And I also think that dancing
That's
is
me.
You better get on Soma.
Well, I'll have to just follow your lead. You can show me how to dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's like, yeah, they don't know how to go about, and they don't want to, do the typical ballet or whatever, but this one's a little bit more, and it's also healing because you're working with your body basically, and you're bringing that awareness into your body. I feel like I always say that the body is the subconscious. So if you want to become aware of your subconscious and your subconscious patterns and the way it's running your life, you need to connect back to your body, because it's gonna be telling you messages in subtle ways, and then it's gonna get louder if you ignore it. So
absolutely spot on. Do you work with? Is this like a business for you now? Do you work with people in helping them connect with themselves and dance? Like, is this a thing that you're gonna start doing? We can pump that up too now.
Yeah, definitely, it's building, and I'm gonna create probably more of a virtual studio for it, so it will be online classes and things like that. Yes, to begin with.
So when that launches, we'll get you back on, and you can just completely delve into the whole virtual studio, and we'll get some clients. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
How long are we going for here? 40 odd minutes. So Georgia, if there's I've already asked that question. So is there like an affirmation you can leave us with today that you find inspiring, that you might say to yourself, or something that might inspire someone watching this?
I always think you got to be in control of your mind and your body, otherwise someone else will be. So whatever that means for you is different, but yeah.
I like that. Georgia, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Madeline, if you are watching, you are on my guest list. We just need to find a time to get you on. Thank you for coming on before your sister Georgia. I appreciate you messaging me back and getting this happening. So when your business launches, your virtual studio will get you back on, and you can talk all about it. And you got an awesome story, and I wish and I hope one day that a lot more younger women are taking back their power and being their best versions of themselves. So thanks for coming on and
thank you, Nathan.
sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
No worries.